It is an absolute honour to be here today, and I'm aware most of you can't understand me, so I will try to speak as slow as I can. Unlike the rest of you, well, there's a lot of people here who are warrior survivors of serious sexual abuse. I'm not like that. I'm a survivor of abuse. I'm a survivor of the fist, and it's made me the fighter I am today, and that's why I'm up in Scotland. I'm fighting for every child in the UK. I'm fighting against the sex education. A year ago I started a campaign against the RSE, the sex education they've brought into the UK. The leaflets you've got in your hands, I printed last July. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't introduced myself, I'll do it at the end. I'm sorry. So the leaflets you got in your hand, the green ones, we had printed last July. The information on them came from your country. Most of you don't even know what's going on. This sex education that our governments have signed up to, England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, they signed the same document on the 1st of March 2017. It's a global sex education. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the lesson contents now that I've taken from your country. So if my colleague Rachel can come up and we'll just have a look at this. This is just a little something that I took from your curriculum. You can go on your own government website and find 100 lesson plans. These are your lesson plans. We're telling children how to have sex here. We're telling you how many people have orgasms. There's facts about oral sex. There's facts about anal sex. We got facial ejaculation, and this is what Sandy spoke about on his live. That is anal sex. And they explain how to have anal sex to prevent pregnancy. And the picture they use is banana and Nutella. I think about 96% of the Scottish population thought that was inappropriate. The Scottish Sun wouldn't print it in the paper. The Scottish government don't want you to know about this. Just like the Welsh government don't want our people to know about us. And neither do the English government want the English people to know what's going on there either. But I've got some bad news for you now, guys. I'm part of an organisation called Public Child Protection Wales. And the reason why it's only two of us here today is because we have to take our government to court. The rest of our team are currently doing the 3 peaks to raise money for that. Why do we have to take our government to court? We've been legislated against in Wales. We have sex education from the age of 3 to 16 with no parental opt-out. My country think your country are great. My country want the same children's rights as your country. Do you want me to tell you what's happening in my country? We have a hierarchy of rights. Children's rights. Underneath that we got the sexual and reproductive rights. Underneath that are the parental rights. We have no rights. Okay? We have no rights. We can't protest a campaign against a single lesson. We can't ask for a parental opt-out back because there is no one lesson. It is incorporated right across the curriculum. Maths, science, geography, history. There's nothing to fight against anymore. In Wales, it's starting from age 3, as I said, okay? We are told this safeguards, we are told this to protect from STIs, we are told this to protect against teenage pregnancies. So can someone please tell me why the deadline for this education in my country for the 3-year-olds is September next year, but the deadline for the 15-year-olds is 2025? They're coming after our kids. There's a lot of people here from the care system. I am here so we don't have to listen to these stories in another 30 years' time. Because let me tell you now, our children have sexual and reproductive rights. Our children's rights override parental rights. I used to be a children's rights activist. Now I can't stand them because I know what they're being used for. Our children have a right to be safe. Our children have a right to be protected. Yes. We can't do that anymore. If we want to remove our children from school, from these lessons, We are breaching our children's right to an education. What happens then? What will the schools do with this parent that's asking these problems? They're going to phone social services. And then we're back to where we started. Why have all these men been campaigning all these years? Why? If we're fetching in this education now, children are being taught how to consent from birth. I would like you all to go onto our website, publicchildprotectionwales.org, and you will see the investigation we've done, the original documentation, the proof, the evidence, your lesson contents are all on there. Supported and sponsored by NSPCC. Now, I don't have to tell a lot of people here today what our issue is, because you already know. But you know what I'm faced with day after day after day after day? I'm showing people these documents and they keep saying they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. So there's Rachel now. What have we got here, Rach? So here we have, this year at 39 names on this list, like this conviction list, conviction. How hard is it to get a conviction for sex abuse? Close on impossible, yes. So here I have a list of convictions. Convictions. Convicted politicians, convicted councillors, convicted mayors, convicted school governors, convicted children ministers. All there, all referenced, all checked. That hasn't been updated for about 3 years. But they would never do that. They would never do that. So what are we going to do about it, guys? We can't fight policies anymore. What's the point? They fight their policies in England. They've had a little bit of a parental opt-out back. Yay! No. We are the last in 52 countries to get this education. Once it comes in, it doesn't go back. I'm a criminologist. Child sex abuse. I've looked at these documents. I don't read documents and follow instructions. I read documents and I say, what's that? Who wrote that? Where did it come from? Who said that? Who paid for that? Have you ever heard of Kinsey? Alfred Kinsey? Well, let me tell you now, in our documents, in our sex education documents, we are sexual from birth. How are we sexual from birth? How are they going to get science for that? You're going to have a look at the Kinsey report, Alfred Kinsey. I've also done a video on YouTube, PCP Wales, look it up. Look at the history of our sex education. I do not say a word unless I can reference it, unless I can evidence it, and that evidence is solid. The table you will find, I think is table 34, you'll see the evidence, the science behind our sex education. They timed how long it would take for a child to, and I use this term loosely, orgasm. They timed them in a space of 24 hours. They're the stopwatch. Okay? Don't take my word for it. Look at the documentary Kinsey's Paedophiles. They will tell you themselves, okay? The youngest child on that table was 2 months old. If you read the book, it will tell you the actions of these children. They were convulsing, they were fitting, they were screaming, they were pulling away. That was a sign of sexual pleasure, apparently. So people say, oh, but the Kinsey Institute, that was years ago. That was years ago. So why do our 1998 sex education documents reference him? Why are we now having an education from UNESCO who are advised by the Kinsey Institute? Look it up, I'm not lying. Oh, but that research was years ago. So why? Why have they still got an app, a mobile phone app, and they're still collecting this data? Now here's for the big one, guys. This is the big one, and I've seen this document, and I will send you this document. I am just waiting, biding my time before I tear it apart because I need to get out of a certain situation, but time is running out. 3 weeks' time, I'll be shouting it from the rooftops in Wales. The Scottish Government have invested £1 million into LGBT youth to decriminalise sexual activities with young people. The definition of young people from the World Health Organization and the United Nations is age 10 to 24. There's a connection to Wales in that. That's why I haven't gone to town on it yet, but I will be. So yeah, that's the way we're going, guys. They're going to legalise sex with young people, decriminalise sex with young people. Their definition is from age 10. So like I said, half my team is not here today. Why are they not here? We've got to take our government to court. We've got a really good high-profile barrister. The legal details, we haven't said a single word publicly because this is a radical piece of legislation. It's going to need a radical response. It's going to need an ambitious response. Are we going to win? Probably not. Can we win? Yes! We can win before getting to court. All we have to do is bring Cardiff to a standstill. If we could bring Cardiff to a standstill, Cardiff isn't a fraction of this. If we could bring Cardiff to a standstill and stop it there, we can stop it in the rest of the UK. We haven't had the lessons like you guys have had. We haven't had none of it. What have we had? This piece of legislation, guys. This piece of legislation, age 3. No parental opt-out. Masturbation. Consent. Know what feels good. Listen to your body. If you want someone to touch you, they can. And a criminologist. Child sex abuse, exploitation. Perpetrators of abuse. Models of offending. Barriers to disclosure. I've asked every single person in my government to come out and speak to me. I can take apart every single lesson plan and I can show a barrier to disclosure. I can show where perpetrators can get to our children. Nobody will listen. The IICSA have just published a report. In that report they say sex abuse in schools is an open secret. I'm currently writing a report myself and working with data never been used before. I can tell you the data that's been churning out over the past year. Our fitness to practice panels in Wales for teachers, a third of section. Yay! So yeah guys, so we've got to come together. This is not Wales's fight. It's not Wales's fight. It's our fight. We are the United Kingdom. We do not have devolved governments. That is a lie. The documents prove otherwise. This division is there for us not to know what's happening over the borders. Scrap the borders. Scrap them. Because it takes a village to raise a child, but it's going to take a country to keep them safe. It's as simple as this, guys. It started in your countries. You've gone too far. It's gone too far. The SNP have had the lesson plans in your classrooms for a long, long time. England, they got sexual stimulation for 4-year-olds in 242 schools. And nobody knew about it. I'm asking you all to think about this seriously. Look at the evidence, listen to everyone's stories here today and make a decision. Are we going to start small and take them all? Yes. Are we going to start in Wales and set example? It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter who we are. It matters that the kids have got people to stand up for them. And we are the people to do that. Yeah? Yes! Yes. That's what I like to hear. So please guys subscribe to our website, publicchildprotectionwales.org. We're only a year old, but we've got big plans, we've got big ambition. We need reform. Our team, the team we have got are absolutely incredible. They are the government's worst nightmare. Why are they the government's worst nightmare? They're the kids that came from the street that got educated. Yeah, they don't like that, do they? They don't like that. So we're the street kids that got educated. We are fearless, we're ambitious, and we can fight to the death, and fight to the death we will. Thank you, Scotland.